저희 질문은 앞에 있는 손님 마이크에서 Q&A 시간을 해주시면 되고요. 네, 이번 시간은 리아님께서 라즈베리 파이 3라는 주제를 가지고 발표 시작하겠습니다. 큰 박수 부탁드립니다.
This session will be in English, but I want to go ahead and introduce myself and give my respects. 안녕하세요. 저는 하와이에서 멜론데스 리아고 하고 합니다. 한국 날씨는 정말 좋아요. 우선 세션을 시작하기 전에 제 소개부터 드리고자 합니다. 저는 트리니티 워싱턴 대학교 에코노믹스, 하와이 퍼시픽 대학교 오토맨하고 이탈리아 대학에 공부했습니다. 그리고 디지털 휴머니티스 전공할 전공입니다. 그래서 저는 단지 발전에 관심이 있는 사람이라는 것을 말씀드리고 시작하자 합니다. 그러면 이제 본격적으로 세션을 시작할 것인데 부탁드리게 이제부터는 영어로 발표드리겠습니다. 감사합니다. So I enjoy talking about art and how it can be integrated into science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. I like to call it STEAM, a derivative, an iteration of STEM when you include artistic computational thinking. And in my 2 years playing with Python, I've realized that the Raspberry Pi Foundation creates these amazing hardware called the Pi 3 or Pi 2 and the current Pi 0 as an amazing ecosystem and foundation for incorporating science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics. So as I said earlier, I enjoy studying 16th century Mediterranean history, the Ottoman and the Italian Venetian empires, music. If you Google me, I suppose you will notice that I used to be a salsa dancer, and various languages. For programming, I like to focus on fashion and music. In particular, my first foray into music programming was in Python. It was an isolated environment, and I decided to go to Python, where I used the Python library, which was created by Pedro Kroger out in Brazil. And with fashion, I like to play with LED lights and see what I can make. I am not an electrical engineer. I do not know how to solder, so that is one of my weak points. Furthermore, I am committed to growing the Python community and presenting ways to incorporate computational thinking to random ideas. I had the honor to present at US PyCon 2016 for music programming. I also did art programming presentation at PyCon Italy this year in April, and I am very grateful for the opportunity to present here and push the idea of incorporating art into STEM. So when you think about science and technology and engineering and math, you also have to consider the art and the computational ways of solving problems. And as I said earlier, you can see the fruits here in the Venn diagram. All of these merge together, and you can find that gateway through the Raspberry Pi. The Raspberry Pi was created by the Pi Foundation. They have several iterations, and the current iteration I'm going to work on today is the Raspberry Pi 3 Model B. So currently, you have memory, you have networking capabilities. The Raspberry Pi 3 has wireless and Bluetooth capabilities. I did not need my Ethernet at all. There are several HDMI ports for you to connect your mouse, your monitor, and other additions that you will need to utilize. One of the reasons why I like the 3 is that it comes with 40 pins already. I do not have to solder. You have 40 input, output pins. unlike the Raspberry Pi Zero, you actually have to solder in the pins given that it's very light. There is a micro SD push and pull in order for you to implement or install your operating system. And those who are into Linux, this is Linux based. If you're going to play with the Raspberry Pis, Debian or Raspbian, and the current operating system for Raspbian is called Jessie. So if you want more information, I actually found this on the website namu.wiki, and they have several information about the Raspberry Pis that's available. All right, so let's get started. The original plan was to live demo here, but when I tried and practiced, I realized it would be a huge mess. So I decided to take a picture of things and walk it step by step. So let's boot up your Pi 3. What are the things you'll need? You'll need a power source. I noticed you'll need a micro USB and connect it to the power source in the wall. You'll also need a USB, actually no, that's incorrect. HDMI, not a USB, an HDMI monitor. And then you'll need a USB keyboard, a USB mouse. The HDMI cord is for the monitor, and an 8 gigabyte SD card. So one of the interesting things now is that when you purchase a Raspberry Pi 3 or the Zero, you have the option to get the software called Network Out of the Box already on the SD card. Because once in the past, you'd actually have to download it or install it via the raspberrypi.org website. Now, if you are comfortable with your Raspberry Pi 3, you actually have the option to go headless if you know how to have your laptop and your Raspberry Pi 3 communicate with each other through SSH and VNC Viewer. But for now, we're just going to focus on actually using the cords to communicate with each other. Okay, so I got this information from the Raspberry Pi website. On the right-hand side, you have the port for the SD card for letter A. What's supposed to be letter B is your power, micro SD. C is going to be the HDMI that you'll connect to your monitor. And then D will be one of your USB ports. There are 4 options there. I currently only use 2, but if you have sensors or any other items that actually can fit into that port, then feel free to use that. And what you see at the top above the Raspberry Pis are your pins, your inputs and output pins that you can use for lighting or for any other projects. Okay, so like I said earlier, what you can do is purchase a package, or you can download some softwares or operating systems from the website. So NOOBS stands for Network Out of a Box Software. It's an easy operating system installer which contains Raspbian. It also provides a selection of alternative operating systems which are then downloaded from the internet and installed. NOOBS Lite, you have the option to have a light version, contains the same operating system installer without Raspbian preloaded. It provides the same operating system selection menu, allowing Raspbian and other images to be downloaded and installed. So you can actually take a look. I provided the link, the URL, so you can download it at raspberrypi.org, downloads/noobs. Okay, so if you know anything about the Raspberry Pi 3, a lot of the names came from the cartoon, the movie Toy Story. Does anyone here like Toy Story? All right, so you have Jessie up here. Jessie's holding the Raspberry Pi. I actually made that. I didn't make Jessie, but I put the Raspberry Pi on her hand. I thought I was talented. And then you have Raspbian there and the current iteration of the operating system here, it's Jessie. So it comes with several options. You have Wheezy, Jessie, or Jessie Lite. I just jumped on Jessie because it was the most current when I started playing with the Raspberry Pi 3. And it has wonderful preloaded software there. You can play with Wolfram, you can play with Node-RED, You can also play with Sonic Pi, which we'll touch on here, which is good for music programming. Now, once you go ahead and install your operating system and then you unplug the power source and then replug it, you'll be able to see your Raspberry Pi 3 boot up on your monitor. Go ahead and check the system, and once the system is fine and you're okay with it, you can start playing with additional software. For the next section here, I'm going to talk about Blinked. Blinked is a product created by the company in the UK called Timeroni. One of the reasons why I like Blinked is because they have this 8 LED header LED light header that doesn't require any soldering. So when I take the header, I actually just apply it on top of the input and output pins. And once I install the software for Blinked, I can actually code from my Pi, from my terminal, and have it light up the LED lights. It's a great way for a visualization, but it's also a fun way to create some sort of fashion items that you feel comfortable with, especially if you have a power source. Okay, so Blinked, that's what we have here. It's the 8 LED lights. RGB LED indicators that can be utilized for visual notifications with a Raspberry Pi. Easy to install with pip. You can either download it manually through Pimeroni-dashboard, or you can go ahead and do pip install Blinked. You can also play with it. It has no soldering needed. It can fit nicely on top of the Raspberry Pi 3 input-output pins. Easy to use with a Pimeroni dashboard and easily accessible on the Pi menu tab. Once you install the Pimeroni, you actually go to the menu, I'll show you here later, and click on Pimeroni dashboard, click on the products, and then you can manually choose Blinked. And once you do that, you'll be able to play with the software. You can program various colors, sequence, and brightness. Again, the various colors is based on the RGB values from 0 to 255. And then you have your sequence. You can do rainbows, you can do blinking, and then you have varying degrees of brightness that you can control. All right, so let's say you buy the Blinked header from Pimeroni and it arrives. It's actually about 6 to 7 pounds if you want to purchase it. It's easy to install with the Raspbian. You do sudo apt-get install Pimeroni. You can look for Blinked Pimeroni dashboard and install it, or you can do a sudo apt-get install Python 3 Blinked if you're using Python 3. So once you do that, you can get this. You'll be able to basically see the products and the items that you want. You can go ahead and take a look at other items. If you don't see Blinked here, if you take a look at that at the bottom right-hand side. And once you choose Blinked, you'll be able to, or once you choose that, you'll be able to see the other products. So apparently, Pimeroni has 11 softwares that come with their Pimeroni dashboard, and you can play with them if you purchase whatever accessories you need. So I've chosen Blinked. It communicates, terminal telling me everything is okay, and then I go ahead and start programming. One of the main things you have to understand is that with the Blinked module, you have set-_pixel, set_brightness, show, clear. So for this particular lighting system, the first LED is valued at 0. Given at Python, the first item, the indexed item is 0. So 0 to 7, indicating that there are 8 LED indicators. So from Blinked, import set_pixel, set my brightness, show, and clear. So I don't want it to be very, very bright, so I go ahead set_brightness at 0.1. I clear it so that there is there are no lights showing and it's a clean brain. And then I want to go ahead and have a new sequence or a new set of lights. So if you take a look at my new value, I have set_pixel 0. That first place indicates the indexed LED indicator, meaning I want the first LED light to be 255, 255, 255, which indicates that it's going to be white. So basically, I want my first LED light to be white. And then instead of print, you actually type in show. And that is your output. the first picture on your left. If you chose set pixel 1 and then 255, you'll get a different color. And then you actually apply those index values based on what light you want to light up and what color based on the RGB values of 0 to 255. And then you click show. So that's one fun thing, but you can also run scripts. There are time modules, color system modules, and the ability to play with other libraries if you'd like to get fancy. Okay, so I want to go ahead and do rainbows. I want to utilize all 8 LEDs from 0 to 7. I want it to respond to RGB values from 0 to 255. Go ahead and set my pixels, but this one here is this script. So I import color system, import time, and from blinked import set underscore brightness, set pixel, and show. And then I do my spacing, indicating that I'd like it to be all 8 LED lights. Set my brightness, and then I go ahead and do my loop. Have my hue, have my X in range, and then go ahead and show it, and then give it a break for a very short period of time. So that's one rainbow script that you can do. And then this is what they call a candlelight, but I call it romantic. Because it looks like a candle, but upside down. So can you imagine playing it with some music, set it to some music and let the input register the tempo and have the lights respond to the tempo of the music? Eventually I'll get there, but right now it's fun playing with these lights. So there are a lot of things that you can do. You can import NumPy here and play with that. You'll need time and you'll need color system. And then you go ahead and do your loops. And then you basically go ahead and tell it when it should pause and how long it should pause. And then you can go ahead and clear the brain. And then if you want to do a new script with a new value system, that's perfectly fine as well. Okay, so now there is Sonic Pi. Sonic Pi is my third program that deals with music. My first program was the Python environment for music, which was with an isolated system. If you're interested in learning more about that, you can go ahead and look at Python environment for music, or JEM. It's easy to download. It's a merge between Java and Python. And then I decided to go ahead and do something not so isolated, such as Python, and I found some libraries. My favorite one is Pynon, P-Y-K-N-O-N. It's on GitHub. You can go ahead and play with that as well. And then my next application here is Sonic Pi, which is available on Raspberry Pi 3's Jessie, but I found out it's also available on the Mac. So I tried to test this out with the Raspberry Pi 3 going headless, but it didn't work out. There was some miscommunication or delay due to whatever connectivity. So I decided to just go ahead and show you what it looks like on my Mac. So Sonic Pi is an open source programming environment developed by Dr. Sam Aaron, designed to explore and teach programming concepts through the process of creating new sounds. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's move this person back here. Okay, so it's very simple. Once you go to sonicpi.net, you'll be able to you'll download it, put in the applications, and then you'll be able to boot it up. So it's very simple here. You don't have to do any coding. You don't have to know any music. If you have a fresh set of eyes, it's fairly simple for you to play with. You can type in any values as well here. So I'm just going to go ahead. What does 96 sound like? No. All right. Let me type in a random number. Let's see if this is anything. It's not. Make some noise. That's high pitched. All right. let's see what 9 sounds like. Oh, that's not good. All right. Okay, so you have the ability to go ahead and just make random sounds if you just want to play and become some sort of DJ. You have your tutorial down here. You also have examples, and then you have effects. Let's take a look at samples. Let's take a look at bass drums right there. So you actually have ready-to-use systems or programs that come with the application once you download it. Okay. Haunted. Let's go ahead and see. That's coded by Aaron. Where is that? It's not my laptop. And that script is here. Okay. So. Move that, so that's the Sonic Pi right there. Where's my mouse? Okay. Right. Okay. Now with the lightings, this one here is much more fun and much more intensive. I utilize Adafruit a lot. ADAFRUIT. It's where you get your NeoPixels, and it's also where you get some of your gemmas or your floorboards. So if you want any of these resources, it's available online at Adafruit. Again, I took a video instead of bringing that here. Earlier there was smoke coming out of the battery pack when I plugged it in, so I decided for safety just to take a video of it and then go ahead and embed it onto my presentation. So if you want to go ahead and play with your LED lighting, I suggest going to Pimaroni or to Adafruit. If you also are familiar with Arduinos, you'll be able to play with your Arduino. With the Raspberry Pi 3, you can download the Arduino IDE for the Raspberry Pi. You can get the Adafruit Gemma, and then you'll also be able to order NeoPixels. And then one of the requirements for this is to have a power source. So there are 3.7 volt batteries that you can actually connect, and it's not too heavy. You can pin it on your shirt or on your dress or somewhere, a pocket that isn't too far or too hard for you to connect your items. And then connecting the circuits or connecting the floorboards or the gemmas with the NeoPixels, I recommend using a conductive thread. If you can order that, you can actually sew them together. And then if you know some of the programming and the lighting, you can actually control the sequence. And what I did here is I took the lighting, the Gemma and the NeoPixels, and put it underneath an old necklace that I had and I don't use anymore, and basically use that light to seep through the necklace and have the colors change. So that's something fun. Other projects that you can do with Gemma and Flora is to create hoop earrings, and you can control the lighting and program the sequence of the lighting, and basically it's pretty lightweight. So those are your options when it comes to creating some lighting projects, LED, that you want to use fashion as a theme. So go ahead and get your Adafruit items, including your NeoPixels, 3.7 volt battery, an Arduino IDE for the RPi, and start programming those sequences in different colors. So basically these are some of the things that you'll be working with. If you are comfortable with soldering, go ahead and, that's what you'll have to do eventually if you want to play with these type of items. And if you are comfortable with that, then that's perfect, because you can create so many other items as well. The earrings that I mentioned earlier, you'll need to do some soldering. Okay. And that's it for my art projects utilizing and leveraging the Raspberry Pi 3. Are there any other questions?
ER panel? ER panel?
No. What does it do?
It lights up and you can use it on the code.
Oh, is it the one that comes with a thread already, or that's in a sequence?
It's square.
Oh, it's a square. No, I haven't used that yet. What do you use it for? Dresses or for accessories?
Accessories and cute shoes and dresses.
Oh, okay. All right. But I was informed. You asked a question, so I have a book for you. Thank you. I'm done. Yeah.
네, 그럼